Hey guys, it's your humble host back with another video. Long time no see. So I thought we'd do something kind of fun and nostalgic. For those of you who have been around my channel for about a decade or so, this particular individual came up on my channel 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 years ago. If you guys remember correctly, you had big YouTubers such as I Hate Everything or Your Movie Sucks. I do believe there's a third one that came up that was involved in this big fiasco. Oh, that's right, The Odd One's Out. He was also a part of this too. So, long story short, you had people kind of stumble across Cool Cat and give their own critiques, and Derek was very receptive to 1 to 2 people, one of those people being Your Movie Sucks by Adam, and the others, not so much. Anyway, someone was recently covering him again. Turkey Tom upposed his video in the descriptions for you guys to watch it. It's about 3 hours, but it goes over a lot of history, and there is some stuff that I didn't even know had gone on or transpired or what was dug up when that entire thing was blowing up. So I decided to kind of poke around for shits and giggles to see what Cool Cat Funhouse was up to. Now, this video is not encouraging anybody to go harass, bully, or anything like that. Cool Cat or Derek Savage, none of that dumb shit. But I wanted to see what exactly the guy was up to see if he was actually still going. And funny enough, he actually is. And if you guys remember the coverage of Cool Cat, because I tried to do my own movie review and ended up to be just kind of a mess, but at the same time, there was some points I brought up because I don't think, and I still stand by this, because just by looking at this video and you have a new video title in the right-hand corner, Derek Savage, I don't think knew where exactly he wanted to take Cool Cat or knew how to flesh out things appropriately or didn't quite understand some of the deeper topics he was trying to cover, aka one of them being bullying. And I've talked about on my channel when I was growing up, I was a victim to severe bullying due to various reasons. And so I always kind of felt with Cool Cat, because if you remember one of his other characters called Butch the Kid, Butch the Kid was treated like this ultimate villain where there was fake newspapers running around how Butch was stealing candy and all this other weird stuff. So I kind of wanted to look at this video because it looks like, number one, Derek Savage still doesn't know how to put together basic advertisement for a video cover. Now, granted, I'm not an expert, but I do have some experience and internships working as a graphic designer. And again, my level is not on that as a professional, but I do know how to put together something pretty decent, if I do say so myself. So I can already kind of see in the top right-hand corner that cover's kind of a mess. And I'm already kind of seeing that Cool Cat's not necessarily fleshed out properly after all this time. So let's take a look at the video. Again, this is not intended to bully, harass, or send harassment towards anybody mentioned in the video. So please do not do that. Just, come on. Anyway, let's get on with it.
Hello, everybody. Ooh, hey, what's happening? I'm Cool Cat. It's not Cool Cat. It's me here. Cool Cat's outside playing with some friends. I love it when he goes out there and plays with his friends. But
oh, let me also bring up a major problem. So something that was mentioned in Turkey Tom's video, because I didn't know it got this rating, but this was brought up by myself and I believe a few others as well, is so there's a character in here called Mama Cat. Now, as Turkey Tom covered, there was only one puppet for Cool Cat made. There wasn't like multiple suits. So they kind of had to splice together scenes with Mama Cat and Cool Cat, but just to kind of make this even a little bit more weird, is there is no daddy cat. Guess who's the dad? Yeah. So that never seemed to come across, I guess, Derek Savage's mind. It's like that's implied bestiality. And as Turkey Tom mentioned, it got kind of an adult rating. I can't remember which TV studio this was, because Derek has been trying to get investors involved and actually put this thing on live TV, but and aiming at kids. But with that being implied, there is no freaking way, and I don't think that's fixed still. I really don't, because he kind of implies that Cool Cat is his son. Yeah, it's a little bit weird.
But hey guys, I've got a couple questions, about the brand new project, Cool Cat versus Dirty Dog Unleashed. And I've got the script written down, and it's really turned out to be such a fun story. And I'm driving around town right now looking for locations where I can film it at. And but one of the main questions that I've been getting in the comments, and if you have any questions about this new film, here, please put it down there, and I'll try to address them the next time we do a video. But it is the Cool Cat versus Dirty Dog Unleashed? I mean, is it all just about Dirty Dog making the Dirty Dog virus and Cool Cat's teaming with the Colonel and his Harrier jet to stop him, to keep Dirty Dog from polluting you?
So, if you look in the links of his description, I don't have my screen properly formatted to show you, so you can look for yourselves. But you will see that there is Cool Cat beats the coronavirus. So Derek Savage has used Cool Cat to kind of jump on this. And then the issue I really see is Cool Cat is not properly fleshed out and never has been. I remember one of the points that I brought up was having Cool Cat just kind of shrunk down to maybe the size of a house cat, maybe a little bit bigger, and have him as a companion. All the kids around. A perfect example, and this is kind of animated. Do you guys remember the Rescuers Down Under, the first one, and you had that elderly cat with the glasses kind of keep an eye on Penny, and he was pretty much the middleman between Penny and Bernard and Bianca. This is like a very old example, but it's still, nevertheless, you also have, God, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what other animal companions that do this. Disney does animal companions all the time, but none of them really point out life lessons or talk with the children. Oh, I'm having a brain fart here because I cannot pull any off the top of my head besides the Rescuers Down Under. But you guys get my point, to where it made more sense to have Cool Cat kind of shrunk down, and he could talk, very special cat, and just kind of go around with the kids and find something. There was one, and I haven't watched it fully. I've seen enough snippets though, where it talks about Cool Cat and the kid finding a gun. Yes, this one has come up too quite a bit. And the reaction was very hysterical, not in the ha-ha funny way, but more of kind of like an overreaction, if you will. Now, kids and guns do not mix. Yes, you can properly teach your kid how to respect firearms, and that's a whole other conversation. But long story short, they started just to kind of freak out, and I can't quite remember entirely how the rest of the scene went, but they're kind of like shouting like, oh my gosh, it's a gun, and it's just like, okay, calmly, you Cool Cat, you seem like you should have more knowledge, because this is what is being portrayed by your character, is you stand guard and have one of the kids calmly go get an adult and explain, hey, we don't touch this, we don't know where it's been, we should possibly call an officer too. It just, small things like that. Everything that I've noticed that Cool Cat does, every situation that this character is in, it's kind of blown out of proportion, way out of proportion, and I cannot bring up that bullying stuff enough, because there is so much exaggeration, there's so much I guess, unwanted or unwarranted comedic just responses from the characters. And I know they're not purposely put there, but again, this kind of goes back to me saying Derek Savage doesn't know the full extent or even understand why kids would bully each other. I mean, that's both a shallow and a deep topic, but I digress. Let's continue. And try to pull Cool Cat into the coronavirus stuff. I wouldn't be touching that with any of my characters if I was trying to run a show. I wouldn't be touching the virus or any mention of it with a 9-foot pole simply because of what's been coming out about it and what has been exposed. So, and I know there was a bunch of stuff, especially by Project Veritas, that had exposed a bunch of fraudulent and sick and disgusting stuff by Fauci, but let's not go off into the weeds here. But you guys get my point. If I had characters and I was trying to flesh out my character and for the purpose of TV, I wouldn't touch that virus. And I'd tell any studio to go freaking F themselves if they try to get me to touch the subject. It's like, nah, man, we're not even going to bring this up.
With the dirty dog virus, even though that's a strong enough story for a film to stand on, but no, it's not. If you know anything about my projects, I'm very much a firm believer in putting morals and family themes in my stories. So I like to keep them very family friendly for kids because I truly think that kids, it's tough for children, especially after the past couple of years with all this coronavirus and all this other, whatever is going on. And in this one, Cool Cat is helping me do some construction on a house. We got a house. We're going to fix it up a little bit and then sell it. And so in this story, Cool Cat is having a lot of fun working with his father. Of course, I play Daddy Derek in the Cool Cat films.
Yeah, like I said, the implied, well, it's no longer implied, it's been confirmed, and even now by his own mouth, that he is the father, and bestiality, and I don't even think that even hits with Derek, and I don't know why it has not been addressed. The bestiality thing was brought up years ago. And then in regards to family values, I'm not trying to sound like a dick. I'm really not. But in order to write for kids family values, you first have to understand the certain functions of a family and possibly have to have one yourself. I speak for myself. There's no way I would try to write books for children, books for young teens, because number one, I don't have kids. I don't have that experience of raising kids. I don't have that experience of raising or even being able to relate to teenagers, so I effectively could not write or come up with any proper material characters that they could possibly relate to and have their troubles and problems be understood. I can speak from my own experiences, but from what I've learned over the years just about me, my experience that I had growing up is not the norm. So again, I wouldn't be able to effectively write out material for children, much more teenagers. So it helps to have that experience and have a healthy experience with it. So in regards to Derek Savage doing family friendly and stuff for children, it has shown throughout his product for the last several years that there is no way. Yes, it's a big orange cat. Kids get excited about big puppet characters walking around, but there is no way for his movies to be wholly effective. Now, you could be a writer and get a lot of input from parents. You could have a co-writer who is a parent, a mother, a father. So that would work. But trying to write material by himself, which I do believe he does and has done for ever since he launched Cool Cat, material directed towards children, it comes off as shallow, stale, out of touch. And again, this could be a character with proper formatting and being properly fleshed out, possibly shrunken down, this could be a very good character children when done properly. And I keep using that word, it's emphasis. But anyway, more to the point, it just this character has not been done justice. The design, I don't have an issue with the overall design. Whoever made the puppet made it really well. I don't have an issue with the overall puppet. But man, there's so much more that can be done. And just in the advertising alone, I don't know if he does the graphic design work himself. You guys have seen movie covers plenty. DC, Marvel, Disney. They designing the actual title is in a project within itself. Whether that project has characters poking within out the letters or has some sort of crazy design, and that it very much speaks to the personality of the movie, if not sometimes the context. So I'm seeing like your basic font. I don't. Is that's not cool as well. I can't pick out the font especially, but I can tell some effects. Like you have a gradient, you have drop shadow in the back. It still looks like a mess. There is no way for the eye to follow. Like my eye is getting confused. When graphic design, when they're teaching you the visual aspect or the artistic side, because there's also the technical side with HTML and Java and CSS and XHTML. With the artistic side, they teach you how to get the line, or excuse me, how to get your eye to follow the actual design. Like, do you want the eye to start up top and travel in the middle? Do you want your viewer's eye to go from top to bottom, side to side? So there is, like, what is your main focus of your piece? So I could go on, but his cover in the top right hand corner is just a mess. And I know the cover's small, but to me, just from looking as far away how small it was, the puppet for Dirty Dog looks like a miniature gorilla. I need to see the cover like bigger, but yeah, looks like a gorilla.
And so it's got that good family moral to it, where it shows that it's good to work with your family, to unite with your family. And I truly think that's very, very important. But also, I'm teaching Cool Cat some simple construction, working around the place and all that, and so he can get hands-on. And I think it's important for kids to learn how to do deeds. I mean, I read a story where most of, the 20-year-old folk out there can't even change a flat tire. And I went, what? You got to be joking. So I like to teach stuff like that, to the kids. But also, it teaches children simple business. Because we gotta fix the place up. Then you got the cleaning crew to come in and perhaps we sell it and make a little profit. I don't know. I sure hope so. But
Okay, so there's quite a bit to unpack right here. So, yes, it's good to teach children basic skills, but your targeted audience is not going to have a clue about the house market. Your targeted audience possibly isn't going to have a clue about why someone would fix up their house only to turn around and sell it. Now, as for fixing a flat, that is more geared at teenagers, young adults, and what you're speaking heavily of is learning lessons mostly from the father. I'm not saying mothers can't teach that to their children as well. I've heard stories of how women grew up with their fathers teaching them basic mechanical skills and then passing on to their children. So there's nothing wrong with that. My point is, Derek Savage is wanting to be seen as a father figure. But here's the thing, it does not work. The fake family, because I'm going to call it what it is, already has so many problems, and I'm not even going to dare poke at Derek Savage's past. I don't know what his past is in regards to his family life, but the way that he talks, responds, I can only surmise and kind of make a guess that his father may not have been around very much. I don't know if his mother's around, but you can tell, especially with men, when the father has not been in the picture. And this is kind of what I'm picking up. Again, I was around when the fiasco kind of blew up. I was a nobody, still a nobody, no big thing, but my channel was even smaller. Very, very, very small. I think like over 100 subscribers. So I was teeny tiny, didn't even make a drop in the bucket. Long story short, I was around, I was watching his behavior, I was watching his responses, and they were just overly emotional. And so, him trying to be a fatherly figure, he doesn't know how. I can tell he doesn't know how. And it's not saying that he can't learn, but you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to take that criticism. You can't just go, okay, I want to do this without any experience, without because part of that is also introspection, and I'm not trying to get too deep with it. I know just from all the Cool Cat material, the brain's not that deep. When I was watching this kind of blow up, I kind of discovered that it's all surface level. But if you really want to reach kids, you have to have certain experiences. You actually have to realistically relate to them. So Derek Savage has always come across to me as the out of touch, wannabe deep Christian media. That is the impression I've gotten. That's the impression I've gotten about the guy for years. And in order to do certain stuff, again, just for me, I cannot effectively create certain types of media because number one, I don't have kids, I don't have that experience, so I don't have that language, if you will, because when you do have children, you have to change your language, you have to change the way that you relate stuff to children. So it doesn't expose too much all at once, but in a way they still kind of understand, hey, it's not okay to do this. For now, trust me, I'll tell you when you're a bit older and when you can understand a little bit more. So stuff like that. But he can't. He's trying too hard to be a father figure, and he can't. And you can tell he does not have that experience with it. And I hate to say that, but yeah, it kind of sucks.
You know, it's teaching kids simple business, and I think that's very, very important in life. But also, just the family unity in it is a great thing, especially for the day's world. And so, I hope that answers that question right there. You know, if
Okay, so I know I just paused it again after a few seconds of him talking. The family unity, yes, I completely agree. It is so important, especially with what is going on. I 100% agree. Now, saying it versus actually doing it is so night and day. Because there's several family members of mine I'm not talking to for good reason right now. But again, I do agree, and it's something very hard to do from family to family. And when you do have family unity, healthy family unity, you also have a healthy society. And that's a whole other conversation. I've already talked about that on this channel, mentioned it quite a few times throughout several videos. And so I'm not going to go off into the weeds again. You guys already kind of know what I could bring up and what I could expand upon, but let's not for the sake of the time of the video.
it's a Cool Cat project, you already know that I'm going to try to put something that's good for the children in there and good for adults too. You know, I'm not forgetting you guys one bit. You know, and guys, I tell you what, the campaign, the Kickstarter campaign that we got going for, it's going pretty good here. We've got some great rewards. You know, the T-shirts, and like here's one right here. The color, here's the black one right there of the Cool Cat shirt. And of course, these are just like the shirts that Cool Cat wears in his films. All right, and so this way you can be a cool cat. But hey, don't be throwing no hate mail at me, because I know some of you would try for having a dirty dog shirt. But there's probably a little bit of dirty dog in all of us. But guys, hey, I sure hope you come visit us on the Kickstarter campaign. Oh, by the way, I'm doing a campaign or a contest right now for where you or someone is going to win a little acting part in this film right here. And I had it where, it's the hashtag Cool Cat Movie, and you post it on Twitter. That way I can find it. And I said YouTube and Twitter. I'm having trouble finding those on YouTube because I'm sure a lot of you have done it. But when I search it, I can't find them. So please, if you did make a video for your audition, 10 seconds or less now, please, post it on Twitter. And the Twitter Cool Cat account is, of course, Cool Cat Loves You. And the hashtag for the Cool Cat Movie auditions is hashtag Cool Cat Movie. So I hope that helps you out right there. We got some pretty cool auditions. I've seen some pretty good talent, too, already on that. So,
That, I'm not going to really comment on that. Again, his movies are convoluted. They're not... I've seen the original Cool Cat Saves the Kids. I've sat through it. I've seen reviews. So to me, it was just a mess. It was so just humorous with its exaggeration. Butch the Kid was made to be like this ultimate bad guy, and it was weird. Like, he showed up in two characters' yard, which, by the way, trespassing. Kid wasn't invited. Two, he randomly came over to kick over a sandcastle. What was the other thing that Butch the Kid did besides the weird newspapers claiming that he was stealing candy and stuff? A text message. They use flip phones and whatnot, and I think either I Hate Everything, Turkey Tom, or Adam from Your Movie Sucks brought this up to where one of the little girls gets this weird text just out of nowhere. And instead of Cool Cat telling the little girl, hey, maybe we need to show this to your mom and dad because they pay for the cell phone, but it's also kind of weird because it's from a random number. Let's show them and see what they want to do about it. Don't click on anything. Cool Cat pretty much tells the little girl, hey, let's find out who it is. And as an adult, you can do that if you're pretty much have the basics, as long as you don't click any links or whatnot. But even then, you don't want to call certain numbers that try to text you because of robocalls and getting signed up for stuff. Again, that's a whole other thing. But main point is Cool Cat himself didn't know how to deal with a weird text from an unknown number. So that is a very, very big problem. Considering how there's a lot of predators online these days, and so the movie has a lot of issues, even with the corrections. It's convoluted. It does not make any sense whatsoever. Let's continue. Oh, and also the merchandise. So the actual 2D image of Cool Cat, again, I don't have an issue with. I think it's a simplistic yet wonderful design. I don't have an issue with it at all. However, there is no distinctive font or formatted title for Cool Cat. Again, you can recognize the artwork for the DC logo. You can recognize the artwork for the Marvel. The title, Cool Cat's name, needs to have his own specific design separate from the character, so that way you can use either the name of the character or the character's head, or if not both. So just, again, these are just small things. I'm not a professional, but at the same time, I do have some experience to speak to this somewhat properly. Again, small things. Small things can make such a big difference. Let's continue.
And I got a few more days. I'm going to be running that. Then I'm going to end it, and I'm going to tape all the ones, and then you guys vote on who you like best. Simple as that. I also have a few reporter parts where it's a TV reporter, and I even have one voiceover. I might throw one of those to a YouTuber, someone who has a big YouTube channel. So if you know anybody, send them my way. To visit us on the Kickstarter is CoolCat versus DirtyDog.com. Very easy. But guys, hey, it's Derek signing out here. I hope you have a blessed night tonight. And remember, Cool Cat versus Dirty Dog. Who's going to win?
I'm Dirty Dog, and I'm the baddest there is.
So, again, This video is not to incite harassment or anything like that. Oh, now I can see the puppet a little bit better. Is he pointing a gun, a revolver at Cool? Yo! Oh, and what is that? Is that a French bull? Is that okay? A few things. Holy crap! I guess you can't get the same puppet maker because that looks like one of those cheap rubber masks. Why? What are they standing on? Is this at a school? It's Dirty Dog as the school shooting. Okay, school shootings are very sensitive topics, very political, I might add. Again, Uvalde shooting, Parkland shooting, not gonna go into them for obvious reasons. This is not for that video. But yo, oh my god. Okay, so the background obviously doesn't fit the characters. It looks like it's a stock photo or a photo from an article. Again, you just have a mess with the font, with the colors. And it goes back to Cool Cat not being fleshed out properly. Cool Cat, Derek Savage does not know what direction he wants to take Cool Cat because you want him to be a kid's companion, to help them with problems that are on their level, so to speak, or you actually trying to make him a superhero? Because it goes back, if you look at the middle video here, because I've already brought this up, Cool Cat saves the kids. This has to do with, but this is trying to make it seem like Cool Cat is some sort of superhero, but he's not. He doesn't know how to deal with any of the problems. So Cool Cat stops a school shooting. Okay, if I had this brand, if this was mine, I would not do I wouldn't touch a school shooting, especially because of the nature of today and because of the politics around school shootings. Not to say they're not important to talk about, but because I went through school and they did active shooter drills and all that mess. Looking back on the drills that I did and kind of just seeing if that would hold up to what has happened and what has been let to happen, those drills really don't mean anything anymore, and it's sad to say. So I'm actually very scared of how this movie was formatted in regards to Cool Cat stops a shooting, because there's so much just in that one scenario. Again, Uvalde, Parkland. This is not a topic I would touch, really. I would actually get a lot of feedback from parents, if not police. I would actually kind of reach out about this one. Oh my gosh, because the basic stuff that they teach kids about an active shooter, I can't say works anymore. Again, looking back at the drills and looking at back what has happened over the past year and what's come out about those events, I don't know if there is an effective drill anymore. And this is a topic that I just wouldn't try to make a kids film about, because it doesn't apply anymore, in my opinion. I could be completely wrong. Maybe there's stuff that they're doing differently. Again, that's for a whole other video. But yeah, that scares me. That one particularly makes me go, no, don't even try to release something like that. And then you introduce, which by the way, I would not have a character who I was trying to introduce to my audience. This is just me, especially little kids. As a parent, I'd be concerned because you have Dirty Dog here as the school shooter on the right cover here. Um, again, that is such a heavy topic because of what has come out about the past couple school shooters here in the US. So to have your brand new character who's supposed to be an antagonist or just full on villain, because there is a difference between the role of an antagonist and a villain. They could be both, they could also be two different characters. A villain is the actual bad guy. An antagonist is someone who is a rival to the main character and constantly finds ways to trip them off or knock heads with them. But the antagonist does not mean this particular character is the bad guy. Perfect example of this is if you look at the cartoon Jake Long the American Dragon. When Jake goes to, I can't remember what island it is, to face off against other dragons around the world, there is an Australian one that becomes the antagonist for the episode, constantly goading Jake, constantly saying he's never going to win, and then they actually bring in the actual villain, which is the Dark Dragon. Yes, this is another old show, but again, that's the best example I can think of. And the Aussie Dragon and Jake actually kind of team up to escape from the Dark Dragon that makes himself appear during this tournament. So that is an example there. Now, again, unless you know what you are doing, and because this is being geared at kids, if I was a parent and I saw the introduction of a new character and I saw one of the topics being a school shooting, I would no, this should not be one to be showing to my kids. Again, several can of worms, just no. And because Cool Cat is not fleshed out enough, and now we have an introduction to a actual villain and or antagonist who's already taken on a severely heavy role already, it's not good. It's really, really not good. And then to give another heavy role to Dirty Dog for him creating a fake version of the coronavirus, or should we say cartoon equivalent of the coronavirus, again, another huge can of worms. And this video came out in October of this year. This was 2 months ago. Considering what has come out, I have not seen the Cool Cat versus Dirty Dog Unleashed, so I'm not sure what the implications are going to be in there. I don't know what the plot is. I don't know if certain things are going to be referenced. Kids are not going to understand biowarfare if that is what is going to be implied in that video. And from what his description, that's pretty much what is going to be implied here, because he talks about how Dirty Dog creates this virus and tries to unleash it, and it's up to Cool Cat to stop him, which Cool Cat doesn't have any superpowers. Cool Cat is about the age range as it's been implied, maybe 10, maybe a little bit younger, a little bit older, but he's not even a teenager. So to take on heavy topics and try to go from, oh, hey, I'm these kids' friends helping with just, neighborhood problems or dealing with other kids who like to bully us, we're going to go to heavy, severe political topics and have Cool Cat intervene in those when he can't even handle the basic stuff with kids, like getting anonymous text messages and bringing the phone to your parents saying, hey, I got this weird text, what do I do? And go from there. So this video is not a bash one, but this is a brand that, in the proper hands, could actually, I really believe, have an impact. And we've seen good kids brands, we've seen bad ones. So my biggest thing for me, if I wanted to create a brand for kids that was along the lines of this, I'd be bringing in not only someone who was a parent who had healthy relationships with both their spouse and with their children. I'd also make sure that they actually knew how to write, whether they had a little experience writing books that were actually sold, were put on main shelves, that had some maybe cinematography, filmmaking, video editing background, maybe a little bit of graphic design, maybe bring on a couple people. And I understand Derek has a limited budget, but he's trying to expand way too fast. And as Turkey Tom has described, is Derek Savage didn't fully understand why his audience got so big and how people were watching them, not particularly because they actually enjoyed it, but it kind of became like, what's the best way to describe it? A cult watching, where it's like, okay, this is kind of a train wreck, it's kind of endearing, it's kind of interesting, it's kind of cringy. Let's watch it because it's interesting. It's not that we particularly like this thing, it's interesting, and I kind of want to see where this goes, so take my money just a little bit. I could go on, and I'm not a professional by any means, and I know this turned into a 41-minute video, but this was one thing that I was both confused and horrified by. Now, granted, it's not as bad as some of the other kid shows I've seen try to launch off of YouTube. You guys remember Bullshell Media with the Faith Kids? I don't know if you guys remember that, because that was covered too, and you had people like Rebzion. You actually had the anti-SJW community somewhat get involved in that, like Suit Yourself. I want to say even Drunken Uncle got involved in covering that because these things were so bad and these people decided to lash out. So to me, that is worse in several ways than this, and then Cool Cat is worse in many different ways from that. Whether or not Bullshell Media's gotten better, I have no freaking idea. I have not looked on the channel for years. I know they started to nuke several other social media accounts because people got tired of their garbage and wanted to say something about it. So, with that being said, I wanted to kind of go down memory lane and see what Derek Savage was doing because of Turkey Tom's video. No, Turkey Tom did not incite people to go poke at Derek. Let me just clarify that. And the reason why I say that is because if you actually watch Turkey Tom's coverage of the entire scenario, there was emails brought up how I hate everything, told people or allegedly told people, oh, hey, girl, harass Derek or whatnot. Derek tried to blame I Hate Everything's video coverage for the harassment he was getting at the time. So I'm clarifying, Turkey Tom's video did not make me go harass Derek Savage. This is not a video harassing Derek Savage, nor is it a video intended for bullying or anything like that. I gave legit criticism from the experiences I had professionally and just working on some stuff here and there. Again, I'm an amateur graphic design artist, nothing more. But with that being said, what are your guys' thoughts? Do you think there's any redemption for this stuff? And if you had this brand, what would you do with it? And what changes would you make? And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.